So today I wanted to post a video to my reaction to a video that was posted on YouTube by one of my favourite YouTubers about a stock I own, which is Hims & Hers. Hims & Hers is a stock that I own which has been performing absolutely amazing financially, and the share price did start to reflect that until around about April time, and since April time the stock has been on a bit of a downtrend for the last couple of months. And in the video of talking about Hims & Hers, it talks about it financially performing very well, but the rest of the video was a bit more of a neutral or a more of a negative view of Hims & Hers and some concerns around the stock. Now, for me personally, I love looking at negative or different points of view to what I have on a company, because sometimes you might miss something. Sometimes you might go tunnel vision and you totally ignore the negatives, and sometimes you might need reminding of those negatives, or sometimes people are seeing negatives that you're not noticing. So I love this. I love listening to different points of views on my stock, and if I can't answer them concern around the stock, then I've got to go, oh, well, maybe I need to start thinking about this stock and any sort of more risk towards it. So yeah, hope you enjoy this video today on Hims & Hers, and let's get started. So the video came out from Unrivaled Investing, which Daniel over there has a fantastic YouTube channel. It is probably one of my favorite YouTube channels at the moment, and the information he puts out is absolutely amazing. And I think that we seem to think a bit similar when it comes to stocks, but obviously Hims & Hers was a little bit different, because Daniel, Unrivaled Investing, came out with more of a neutral point of view and the reasons why he's potentially not buying this stock even though it's financially performing amazing. And obviously for me, I'm a shareholder of this stock, and obviously I'm still buying shares up at these sort of levels. So I thought I'd do a bit of a reaction to this, more of a concerned opinion on Hims & Hers compared to my bullish, and if I can kind of look at that situation and be happy with those concerns that Daniel's seeing. So I'm not actually going to play the video for you guys, I'm just going to jump to the sections and then talk about it. So to be fair, Daniel and Unrivaled Investing, for the first kind of 3 minutes, basically talked really positively about the stock. He spent the first 3 minutes talking about how it's doing very well, which you can see the slide shot from here. He talks about how management have outperformed. When you look at the subscriber growth, the revenue growth, they're even dragging up the adjusted EBITDA margins now. He talks about how positively they've been absolutely smashing the financials. And then he also adds in about potential categories that they can potentially expand to going forward, obviously like the weight loss category that they're going to be entering. So the first 3 minutes was very positive on Hims & Hers, and then he kind of got onto the concerns that he had around Hims & Hers. So the first concern that he really had about Hims & Hers was the marketing spend, which is around about 3 minutes 34 seconds in. His concern is around the marketing is basically the driving force around the revenue growth. Now, I've got to say that I do agree from some point of view that the marketing is helping the revenue growth. If you were to take away their increase in marketing, without doubt we would see the revenue growth slow down. What that would be is up for debate. I would potentially see the marketing, I would expect the revenue growth still to be a strong 20 to 30%, but it definitely wouldn't be growing at the 70 and 80% that it's doing right now. What I like to do is when I look at the marketing, I look at the marketing at the moment, which did in the last year increase by 47 million. Now, the good thing is that the marketing that was increased by 47 million, when you do look at the revenue did increase 94 million. So the revenue is increasing more than the extra spend that they are putting into marketing, which is very good. And if you do look at the marketing to revenue spend, it's roughly about the same. It's just short of double here as it was last year. If you look at where it is right now, it's same again. It's just short of where it is right now. So when you look at the trend, the marketing and the revenue are staying in line. The marketing isn't getting higher than the revenue to support it, which is the key thing. Now, this is what happened with me in a stock that I own, which was one of my worst investments, which is Skills. When I look at Skills, I did not assess the marketing spend enough. I was not looking at the marketing spend and being criticizing of that, going, the marketing spend is only supporting the revenue growth. I kind of went to the point of view going, oh, it'll be okay, they're using cash, marketing's cheap at the moment, and they're gaining market share. You have to have that concern that the marketing isn't supporting the revenue growth. And here, at the moment, when I look at the marketing spend, I'm quite happy with it because it's staying in line roughly what historically it's been to the percentage of revenue, and the revenue is growing more than what the marketing spend increase was in the last quarter, which I'm absolutely fine with. Now, the next negative or concern that Daniel did have around Hims & Hers which was around about 5 minutes and 8 seconds in, which is around the reviews. Now, I actually don't know what site this is that he's using for the reviews. Personally, for me, when I do check the reviews out of a business that I'm buying, I always go to Trustpilot. That's the one that I always use. Now, when I look at Trustpilot, Hims is actually rated 3.8, which is great. Now, I think that's okay, because what do? You normally only leave reviews when you've had a negative experience. And when I do look at GoodRx, it is around about what GoodRx is, which is kind of in a kind of similar sort of space, in the healthcare kind of space. So that is fine that they're with like a company that's a little bit similar, and they're rated roughly the same. And the thing with reviews is sometimes you just get some very strange reviews out there, and also reviews can be twisted slightly. You can have a point of view where sometimes reviews can be inflated, because a business goes, oh, go leave us a review on Trustpilot and we'll give you a year free service or something like that. So companies can inflate these reviews, and the other point of view is that sometimes they can be actually hijacked from the reviews. You can actually get to the point of view where a company goes, oh, they're a rival company, let's get their reviews or the stars down on Trustpilot by leaving something. That can happen sometimes. So the reviews, I do always take it with a bit of pinch of salt, because they can be manipulated into a certain point of view. But if I do look down here very quickly, I mean, we've got 5 stars on the recent one, another 5 stars, another 5 stars, 5 stars again. Same again, you know, when I get the first kind of more neutral point of view, 3 stars, and the complaint is around the product. It's not around the product, but it's actually around the packaging. So I'm absolutely fine as long as the product's okay. That's the main thing. Obviously, you can deal with the packaging issue, but yeah, same again, you know, that's absolutely fine. We've got another 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars again, 1 star. Here, this is, same again, it's not around the product, it's actually around some sort of subscription, cancel and payment. Same again, this is around the payment. So the actual reviews here that I'm seeing is, and same again, customer service is not actually around the product, which is, I would rather have the product working, and hopefully they can deal with these issues around the support and customer services. That can be dealt with, and hopefully Hims and Hers do address that sort of issue and they can improve that. So there is definitely things that Hims and Hers look like they can work on when you do look at the customer reviews, but the main thing is, as long as the product is not getting the negative reviews, I'm okay with that. Now, the next thing that Daniel from Unrivaled Investing did mention is around the actual retention rate, which is around 6 minutes and 45 in, which is actually just talking on screen about. He said that we don't know, once again, what the retention rate is, and is that why they're spending so much into the marketing. Now, there's that point of view where they have to spend a lot of money in marketing to get the new customers on board, and hopefully they stick with the platform, and then they also go cross-sell and buy many products. And I do agree that the thing with Hims and Hers is that we used to get a retention rate from them, which we don't get anymore now, and it would be lovely to know that retention rate. And that is something to always be careful of, is, you know, what is the retention rate, and also is the marketing spend covering up the cracks with the retention rate. And that is definitely something to be concerned about. And once again, that kind of ties into when the earnings report always comes out, I always do try to look at marketing spend, and my concern is around the retention rate side of it. So I do agree, this is the one concern that I do have with Hims and Hers, is the retention and marketing rate. But at the moment, I see that being okay at the moment, but I totally agree with him. This would be my concern around it. The next thing is around 7 minutes, which is trying to work out a valuation for it. Now, if you do look at that, I'm trying to get it, but this pause button is exactly on. If I mute it and play the video, hopefully it can disappear. But if you actually do look at Daniel's, it's not going to disappear, is it? That is annoying. But if you do look at his price return, you can just about see here, on his high side, he's actually predicting 300% upside, which is absolutely fantastic. And I would agree that the high side is somewhere around there. I'd actually argue maybe a little bit higher. The mid side is around 100, and the low side is around negative 15%. So actually, the forecast that Daniel's giving on here is actually pretty positive, as you can see here. My only little thing that I would say to this valuation, and Daniel, to be fair to Daniel on Unrivaled Investing, he does say these are conservative numbers, so that is obviously something to be aware of there. But I would say that, as you can see here on the high side, he does have Hims and Hers growing at 25% and a slowdown there, which I think will happen at some point. We will no longer grow at 7 to 8% revenue growth in the next kind of 5 years. We will see the revenue growth slow down, and we probably will see it slow down to that 20-30% range. And on the high side, Daniel is using 25% revenue growth. But you can see here that he does have the company trading at 19 times earnings. Now, my point of view is that if you look here, he's got an operating profit of around 17.5% and 25% revenue growth. For me, you would be trading at a lot more of a premium than that. If you're a company offering that sort of levels of profitability and also the revenue growth, for me, you would be trading, maybe even 30, 40. So ultimately, if you're already sticking a double the multiple than that, your upside is over double what is offered here. You're talking 600%, which is something really big to be factoring in. Same again, if you're a company trading at 15% revenue growth and you're also got a optimized margins of 7.5%, I think once again on the low side you'd be trading at maybe even more of a premium than that, but I would argue that we probably won't see it go to 15% revenue growth just yet anyway for a while anyway. So that's obviously really conservative that something goes wrong, which is absolutely fine. So you can see here on the assumptions of the valuation, even Daniel that has his concerns around the stock, he still thinks there is plenty of upside if it does hit the higher numbers. So yeah, I totally agree with that sort of opinion. Now the next thing was around 7 minutes and 45 seconds, which he talks about the insider selling inside the company. Now for me, I'm fine with the insider selling at the company at the moment, because what do? They do a lot of stock-based compensation as the salaries. So if you're taking a lot of stock-based compensation, you do have to sell some of that stock eventually to help support your wage. So I can understand that. And the other thing you've also got to be careful of is that for Hims and Hers, this is a stock that's been stuck down the kind of, $3, $5 range for a while. When you go through a SPAC, there's a lockup period for around about a year where you can't sell your shares. Now the problem is for a lot of these people that were in this lockup period, they had, for example, the shares go down to $7.6543. Eventually, they've seen a rebound in the stock and all the way up to $12 a few months ago. So that would make sense. Personally, for me, even I sold shares at $12. So that totally makes sense. And just to put that into context, if we do take Andrew Dunham, he does get around about 10 million in compensation. But if you actually look at his salary, as you can see here, is 600k. So that's quite a small salary for a CEO. So a lot of that is topped up by the compensation, which by the way from last year was 15 million and then did come down to 10 million. And with like the likes of Andrew Dunham, for example, he actually still owns around about 9% of the business. So for me to see your CEO and co-founder still own that amount of chunk of the business is amazing. It's very rare to see that much of a good holding. So I'm absolutely fine with what's kind of going on there from the insider point of view. Now the last point of view is from around about 8 minutes on, which is the kind of conclusion to this video where Daniel kind of goes on to go, ultimately, I am not sure on the business, or as well as that, I don't really understand the business and what's kind of going on inside. So if that's the case, I don't want to buy and I'm fine with missing out. 100% agree. If you're not 100% conviction on a stock, you don't buy it. And even though you think you might be missing out on something, it's better than being wrong. There's plenty of stocks out there that you'll be able to get 100% conviction on, and you'll be able to make money on them instead. So 100% agree with Daniel here. If you don't have the 100% conviction on it and you're not sure on certain parts of the business, it's totally fine to miss out. There's other opportunities out there. I had something similar. I've been looking at a stock called Perion for a while. I think it must have been over about half a year now. I've been staring at this company and I like the valuation, I like the numbers they're doing, but there's some parts of the business that I'm just not sure on. And as much as I would want to own it and I think this company will do very well in the next few years, at the moment I can't buy it just because I am not 100% sure on the business myself yet, and I don't 100% understand what's going on inside the business. For that point of view, I can't buy the stock even though I think I'm going to miss out, but I'm not going to buy it still just because I think I'm going to miss out. I'm going to be a little bit devastated if it goes up, but hopefully I can find an opportunity that's just as good and the returns are just around about the same sort of level. So yeah, I totally agree with that point of view there. So overall, my opinion on this video from Daniel or Unrivaled Investing is that I understand his concerns. Personally for me, I don't have those concerns with the business, but even though he does have the concerns, it looks like he can appreciate that this business is actually still potentially going to do very well if it does hit the higher numbers, which is good to hear from someone that is such a good investor. So yeah, thought I'd just do a bit of a video there. Hope you enjoyed it, and also go check out Daniel's channel at Unrivaled Investing because it is a really good YouTube channel. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Hit the like button if you're not here, subscribe, and I'll see you in a bit.